I'm going to post on Twitter first. So how do I find my Twitter stream? View on Twitter. There we go. Nice. And then I'm going to message, there you go, Chief AI Officer is coming in. And then, okay, so we're just going to wait for him to join. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab a glass of water, and then we'll go from there. Okay, we're connected on my iPhones. There we go. Okay, one sec. Yeah, let's just make sure he can get in. Hey, bro, what's going on? I think you just need to enable your mic. If you're on Chrome, then just in the top corner here, it's right here, camera, microphone, notifications. I'm not sure if you're on mobile or not. Hey, bro, what's going on?
Yeah, hi, how are you?
Good, man, good. Nice to meet you. We're live right now too, so
Wonderful.
I know we haven't had the chance to talk, but I'm very interested in the AI space, and it seems like you've been doing some good work recently, just putting together a list of the recent deals that are kind of coming through the pipeline, I guess the size of the checks, what round they're coming in at.
Yeah, I've been actually doing that for a while actually.
How do you? Yeah.
I guess the attention has just picked up in the last like month. But I've
Yeah.
been on it I think since March or something. Yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
what do you do?
I've been creating tech companies for a little bit. This platform is my platform.
Biped?
Biped, and Biped is basically a way to be visible when we're all operating on the web. Right? If you want to, if we were to kind of go to a conference and you would want to talk about all the deals, there would usually be a networking session after the presentation talks, and you can't really do that virtually. And so Biped provides a way to basically interact with people online in small calls instead of kind of presentation mode. So really that kind of networking style.
Right. No, that sounds interesting. I really like the fact that I could like just create an account with one of my social profiles. I think that's super powerful.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
One sec, I just got to grab my phone quickly, and then we can kind of start going through these deals. Where do I put that? So, and what outside of putting these lists together, are you working in the AI space right now, or?
Yep, I do work in the AI space, and that was sort of like the initial starting point of like following this, because I work on I work like for a company and I help raise money for them. So it's sort of my job to sort of understand the market, understand why people are raising money, like what market sectors, how that's sort of pivoting, what's happening out of there. So just to understand all of that action, that was my like the main reason of how I started it. And then I guess now I sort of have a little bit of an audience, I would say.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time, right? It takes
Yeah.
I have a whole, I could talk about kind of audience building online for a long time, but I think in general, the way to go these days is kind of maybe not trying to build the largest audience. That
Yeah.
will come, but basically finding a group of people that are active and looking to build, and just kind of working together with those people and kind of finding different ways to approach the internet, because most of the follower graph or the recommendation graph has been built out because everyone follows kind of the same, I don't know, 2,000 people. And so
Yeah.
after that, it's like, do you really need to follow some more people? And like, you might add in like a one or two, but it's not
Yeah.
like it used to be kind of in 2010, 2015, where people are hitting the follow button all the time.
Yeah.
So the internet has actually really evolved really quickly.
Yeah, definitely. It takes some time to build your audience if you're really trying
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Actually, I did have a question in terms of, so you're mentioning that, are you on the VC side, or are you working at
No,
an
I
AI
work at a
company,
startup.
or
I work at an
a
AI
startup?
startup. Yeah,
Gotcha,
startup.
gotcha.
Yeah.
And is that name public, or you kind of try to keep it close to your chest,
Uh,
or?
yeah, it's sort of in like a stealth mode right now, but I can tell
Mm,
you that it's we deal with like open source AI agents.
yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So would you guys use Llama 2, or do you guys use ChatGPT or Claude, or what are you guys using?
So obviously, like I guess the whole industry sort of has to sort of be on um, be using what do you call GPT-4, GPT-3, and like the
Yeah.
whole like range of models that they have. But essentially, I think that it comes to a point where you have to sort of build your own models, understand how that's being built. I mean, it doesn't have to go into a certain product, but just to understand how these models work, you have to build one yourself. And
Yeah.
yeah, so and that's where like the Llama 2s and Llama 3s whatever come in.
Gotcha. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay, so yeah, so right now we're live on Twitter, and we're live on YouTube. You put to, I guess, well, I'll show the world kind of. So you put together a really nice, as you said, since kind of March or April, you've been putting together these lists. I saw your most recent list right here, and so
Yeah.
this is from yesterday. I guess you had another one, or sorry,
Yeah.
this is from 2 days ago. You had another one yesterday as well. But maybe what we'll do is kind of, we'll look at this one today, and generally kind of happy to kind of continue kind of having calls like this and looping in other experts in particular. For
Yeah.
instance, yesterday we had a guy from NASA join the call to talk about AI. We were talking about an open source model called Streaming LLM, and so we went through that whole kind of model and kind of the implications of its of kind of how it's developed, and what it is and what it isn't. But today, what we can do is kind of, you and I can talk about these different raises, what your thoughts are about it, and kind of if you think that these are good investments or kind of bad investments, or kind of anything in between.
Oh, definitely. Let's get on with it.
Okay, so I'm just going to go through the list really quickly. I'll zoom in here. So your tweet said, and if anyone wants to follow, his account is Chief AI Office on Twitter. I'm not sure if you have any other kind of socials that you want to promote, but we can kind of go with that one for now.
Yeah.
And you posted AI startup funding was heavy today. with the credit card emoji, pointing to the fact that people are kind of speaking with their wallets. And so I think this is Ambic. I'm not sure if it's Lambic or Ambic, but Ambic Therapeutics raises $100 million Series B, which is a good, healthy size for a Series B. So congrats to them. Unitary raises 50 million Series A. AI Clearing raises 14 million Series A. Locavant raises 8 million Series A. Humata raises $3.5 million seed. And what do they want? Want to know what they do. And then what I really love about your post actually is that you then kind of have done the work a little bit just to kind of give the 10,000 foot kind of overview of what the company does. So maybe I'll read it, and then I'm happy for you to kind of fill in any additional information you know about it. So Ambic AI, again, $100 million raise, which is amazing for them. It was in Abingworth, or the investor was Abingworth and Ascenta Capital. And the intro was that they're revolutionizing drug discovery and speed up the market with highly selective drugs. They deliver best-in-class and first-in-class development candidates to the clinic. And you had a nice little image here where it says, new molecular designs to new biological data in a week, refining target profiles, designing drug candidates, high throughput chemistry, high throughput biology, and closing the loop. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so I don't know too much about healthcare, but I think that what's sort of special about this startup essentially is, I guess from the pitch, I sort of understand that part of like the drug discovery process is actually finding like people to do your trials on. And I guess that takes time because you're dealing with people. So, and I think what these guys are sort of, they've built some tech around like speeding up that process. I think that's sort of like how they've positioned themselves, and not really sure, haven't been a user, so don't know how that industry works, honestly. But I guess that's just what I understand and make of it. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, you know what, I guess my take is, and I'm the exact same way as you. I don't know too much about it. Their profile here says charting new paths to superior medicines, and I think traditionally how laboratories work is they're constantly doing basically a very slow version of machine learning. So they will do they'll get out kind of the tea tree dishes. They'll put together some kind of different I don't know, enzymes or kind of different kind of cells or DNA, and they'll see how they'll react with each other, and then they will kind of keep taking the superior one or kind of explore the tree of possibilities. And with AI, if we can model the attributes of basically the genome or DNA or anything kind of in that realm, then we can kind of really speed up the number of trials that we can do to the magnitude of not 10x, not 100x, but it could be like a million x or I don't know, a billion x the number of trials. And so I don't know how far these guys are along, but certainly if they can kind of, as I said, chart new paths to superior medicines, if they can do those trials faster, we can kind of start to develop better medicines faster as well.
Yeah, definitely. And like just another point, like from the fundraising point of view, like I think the sort of industry that is like sustained throughout the whole year and like raising like a lot of money consistently is like this life sciences sector. Like this drug discovery stuff has, I guess there's probably like we don't directly see the innovation, but I guess that's where the real stuff is happening.
Yeah, totally. And a lot of times people talk about like AI so much in the past has been very much a theoretical type of research. But I was actually at a talk yesterday with Fei and Jeffrey Hinton, who is basically kind of touted as the godfather of AI. And they were talking about the importance of kind of being at the point in the industry where the rubber hits the road is kind of the analogy that they used. And healthcare is certainly a place where AI is extremely applicable, where you can either diagnose people quickly or quicker, or kind of develop new drugs quicker. So I guess on the investor side, the biggest question is kind of like how far along are these models, and which ones are worthy to make investments in at the valuation that they're sitting at.
Yeah, I actually posted like a really good blog in the chat, for someone that's sort of interested in like generative AI and healthcare. Like I
Yeah.
think this article like provides like a good like breakdown of what's happening, and also has like a pretty neat like market map.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can check that.
Yeah. I'll post it on the live here too,
Yeah.
just so people on Twitter get it. I'll put that there. I guess one thing about Twitter is that I can't update that later. But anyways, okay. So yeah, I think that this continues to be a very interesting space. One of the from a investor point of view, or from a kind of outsider point of view, it would be so nice to be able to kind of see the tree of kind of competitors here. It's like, okay, if you put this company in the middle, what are the companies that are similar to it? Where are their funding rounds at? And then what are the companies that are kind of like maybe one step to remove that might have partnerships opportunities? That's kind of just something I was thinking about right now. But and I guess I was thinking about that because now we're going into something that's basically totally different, right? So we get into Unitary AI. They raised $15 million, and it's a Series A, and it's Creendom, who invested, and it says the Unitary AI aims to tackle the challenge of content moderation by using a multimodal approach to help parse content in videos. And I don't know if anyone else has seen this, but this video I thought did a phenomenal job explaining the need for this type of kind of platform. Maybe actually I'll just restart it quickly. And so it basically starts out saying that every day over 80 years of content is kind of generated. A lot of that's unsafe, and humans used to moderate all of that content. But with AI generation, basically people can't keep up. So some solutions exist right now, but the solutions right now are kind of, they don't have enough context to understand what the videos are saying, if they're bad or not. And so that puts people at risk, advertisers at risk, and there basically needs to be a better solution. So their solution is one that kind of handles the scale and automation. And basically, there are AI experts that are going to be reviewing these videos and content, and they can keep up with this huge amount of AI-generated content with their AI-generated moderators, which is a really cool thing. It's kind of taking the opposite approach. If something gets created with AI, okay, well, now we're going to have AI to moderate it versus basically a mismatch between human capability and machine capability. You can kind of see here they did a phenomenal job just with the graphic and kind of talking about the different types of content. One of those had a squirt gun, and the other one had an actual gun, or like one is like a street fight versus a boxing match, and obviously those are kind of totally different pieces of content.
Yeah, that was a great video.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts on this one?
I actually love to see startups like this, because why? They're sort of tackling like really big problems, you know. I mean, it's not problems, I guess you could call it a problem, but like really big like necessities, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, and like from like a VC's angle, like it's definitely interesting. You obviously have to get into like the tech part of it a lot to understand like, okay, how can a startup like this, where like big companies probably spend 10 times the amount that these guys are raising, like it's a big spend of like large like social media platforms, and like any company that hosts content on their website, like open for anyone to like put stuff on it, has to have like millions of dollars going into these sort of things. So I think that it's super interesting. I guess they must be having a really good like path on how they're building the tech to do that. I think that's just my views on it. Great problem. Great. I think the video sort of tells you that the team sort of aligned in the right way, you know.
Yeah, I honestly love it too. I think that for actually, I think that this type of product really lowers the barrier to entry for a lot of social platforms, where a lot of social platforms can kind of build the rails of social, but they lack in a few different areas. They lack on the amount of content being created and kind of the recommendation engine being good enough to kind of serve the best content to the right people, and kind of providing a personalized feed. And then exactly as you're saying, this other side where once you get a lot of people on your platform, then it's you can serve the content, but then it's about kind of providing people the appropriate content and moderating it. And especially in this, again, as they're mentioning here, where you have these new AI bots, you can see a lot of new kind of social platforms trying to spin up, but then the people behind the developers creating these AI bots kind of just instantly flood those platforms and just kind of there's no real easy way for humans to keep up. So I actually might even look into using this for some of the features that Biped is kind of starting to add in over the next kind of couple months too. So this was a really cool one to find.
Yeah, and they're sort of and they're sort of mainly focusing on just videos, and that sort of, I guess, like aligns with how every platform is sort of going that short form video format way for users to interact. And yeah, it's definitely harder, I guess. Like if you just think about it from like products that other companies have built, um, like DALI, Stability, Midjourney, like they're very good at what they do. But like I
Yeah,
guess text to video is like much harder there. So they sort of come in at the right time before that sort of industry like blows up, and it's sort of hard to control. Like
yeah, totally.
the supply of content is probably gonna like blast on the video side. So they sort of picked like a very good timing to go, sort of like go into this.
Yeah, totally. One thing that Elon's been talking about recently too is just the how he's basically decided that Twitter Blue is the most effective way to moderate the platform and kind of
Yeah.
curtail it from bots, because not all like obviously non blue accounts can be on Twitter too, but the algorithm actually ranks people with Twitter Blue higher, and so a lot of those kind of bots basically don't get seen at all. And so this is potentially another way to kind of um, to moderate and kind of keep the content
Yeah,
free
like you said, like lower
personally.
that barrier to entry. Like not
Yeah,
any platform can just start charging like $8 a month and have
totally.
and expect to have users paid. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of coming from the startup space know, like if you have 100 users, well, going out to those first 100 users that are kind of already taking a risk with your platform and asking
Yeah,
them to pay for $8 is it's a tall order. It's like that $8 feels like like $100,000 to them, even though in reality it's $8 across all these platforms.
yeah,
Jumping into the next one, just kind of keep moving. So there's something called AI clearing. They raised $14 million in the Series A. The investor was Prudent, and it says AI clearing aims to transform the construction industry through AI solutions designed to enhance construction project efficiency and outcomes. And again, I really love how you kind of structure this. I like the fact that you have the company name. The use of emojis is nice. The round is just kind of a nice way to kind of mark a line in the sand, know the kind of main investor, and then the quick intro. But the images make it very easy to kind of understand what's going on. Obviously, the companies are doing a good job kind of highlighting their use cases. But take, for instance, this one. It might not look like anything, but if you kind of start to imagine quickly, this here is a road. These are cars. This is a construction site. Maybe they have a like a tailings pond here, or I'm not sure exactly what this is, or this could be I don't know, a deeper pit or something like that, to kind of maintain elevation, or maybe there's chemicals in here or something like that. So
yeah,
you could just see really quickly that this is kind of, if you had a drone flying over this, which this probably is. So you kind of hook up a drone with a camera, you have the drone take some pictures, and then AI can maybe look at those pictures and start to identify ways to optimize that site. They might say that, hey, look, this over here is a little bit too close to the road, or maybe there could be some additional barriers here, or whatever it really is. And so there's first the identification of the kind of construction site and labeling of it. And then after that, there's all sorts of kind of consulting benefits that may come from this, where they could say, hey, look, these are clear things that you might want to do, or maybe even from a regulatory point of view, saying like, this isn't to code. So please get this fixed. And that could be used by the government actually coming into these sites and saying like, okay, hey, we're going to do AI regulatory inspections. or you could do it from the company side for saying like, look, we're worried about safety, or we're worried about the efficiency of our job site, and maybe there's ways for the AI to kind of make suggestions as well.
Yeah, so what these guys are essentially doing is that, so in any large like construction project, you sort of have to, it's like running a large organization. You have to have like, I guess, I'm not sure what the right like department, like the analogy would be, but there has to be someone sort of tracking these like smaller projects inside of this larger organization. So, and what they sort of like say that is, on a monthly basis on a large project, you can probably just cover like 5 to 10% of that area and sort of act on that. But like using AI, your scope of that sample area that you can track and act on like significantly increases. And I think that's the positioning that they have. And I guess um, that's what they're going after. And yeah, definitely, like I know for a fact that like, just imagine like a $1 billion project, like even a week's worth of um, saving a week on that construction project probably like saves you like millions of dollars.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and like I'm sure that it's not expensive to implement these on those sort of scales.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that's a great point you're making, that these
Yeah,
AIs, especially on these big projects with something like drone photography,
yeah,
provides such value. And so for these companies, they're raising 14 million, but they could charge, like, they could say, look, this costs 100 grand to do,
yeah,
and we're only going to charge you if you think you're getting 500 grand worth of value out of it. It's like, okay, well, that's a no-brainer, right? It's like a 5-to-1 ratio of benefits, and they could do these non-stops with. They could just basically have a team that goes out, buys these drones, and I'm actually interested in basically having like, maybe there's a way for this company to have almost like an international TaskRabbit type service, where they say,
yeah,
hey, like you will have a local company or a local individual that can kind of make these scans for your company. They're going to take home like, I don't know, $2,000 per session or $5,000 per session, and
yeah.
we're gonna supply the drones, we're gonna supply the camera equipment, and then you're gonna get hooked up into our kind of online system. So I'm very curious about like what this
This
company's
model,
distribution
yeah,
strategy. Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
that could be that could be really cool. And if you think about it, like the actual key decision makers of like these projects, they're not the actual ones building them. So that's why it's even more important for you to have like these scans, I guess.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, the guys that are making the decisions here oftentimes aren't even on the
Yeah.
site at these
So,
big jobs.
so generally, what sort of happens is like if you go to any large like construction site, you're gonna see like just like one like big tower somewhere,
Yeah.
like the like it's like a vantage point, like, and that's where the decision makers have to sort of sit and see things.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this just makes their job a bit easier.
Yeah, now they're going to be on their yacht or in their mansion and just have a flying a drone around, just
Yeah.
barking orders at. Yeah, really cool one. This was a nice one to see. So we got two more. So there's Locavant. So they raised $8 million in the Series A from Mitsu and Co. And Locavant aims to address the significant issues present in planning and conducting global clinical trials, and actually had a nice image again, which is just the best. So it says data aggregation and harmonization. So I guess they have a product called Prism, and it says access to structured data, Locavant AI powered models, and I guess that goes into their content delivery house. I don't actually know what CDH is. I'm making a guess there. But it says trial data from sources ingested and harmonized in real time with their proprietary and partner data. So that's very interesting. Then they have a central dashboard for all study reporting. This dashboards are a very kind of typical way to provide oversight. And they basically every AI model eventually rolls up to some sort of reporting or dashboard, especially on the B2B side. Predictive enrollment, forecasting, and risk. So again, they're out of their dashboard, and you kind of get these charts. But I think that this is being able to make appropriate forecasts and especially kind of grade risk is something that AI is particularly good at compared to maybe some more traditional statistical models that don't have any kind of reinforcement learning associated with them, things like that. And I think that AI is good in very specific industries where things like healthcare patients where it might have to learn or forecast based on not exact everyone being the exact same. And because the patients are a little bit different, the models can't be a static model can't be placed on something that's a dynamic individual. So that's really interesting too. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just try my best to show whatever I can about these like life sciences and healthcare like races. I don't know much. They just
Yeah,
they just come in abundance. So I'm still trying to sort of understand how exactly these processes work. But I guess this is sort of similar to I guess comparing it to the first like startup, the
yeah,
Imbanic Therapeutics. I
yeah,
guess
yeah,
that this is where they sort of like find the what do you call the clinical like patient that they want to do the trial on, and I guess this is like the probably the next step is what this platform is focusing on, like as
mm,
they're through that process, like seeing their enrollment, and I guess just probably like having a lot of like trial data running through this platform that they call, what they call Prism or something, and making sense of that for the people who want to make like take some insights off of this like very quickly.
yeah, for sure, for
Not
sure.
sure, not sure who's the like the big tech in this space. Um, Honestly, no idea on that. Like, what are they trying to like upend? You know?
Yeah, I think maybe for the next lives, what we can do too is I can kind of reach out to these companies and see if they have a point of contact that maybe there's
Yeah,
somebody on investor relations or a salesperson that wants to jump into the call and kind of provide us some additional insight into it.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
okay, and the last one is Himata AI. I've actually seen these guys throughout the internet. I think they're pushing on the marketing side a little bit more,
Yeah,
but I think they also, to your point, they have a little bit more approachable type of platform. So
yeah,
they did a $3.5 million seed from Gradient Ventures, and they are making organizations smarter by basically allowing them to ask questions of their files. So if you imagine having something like, I don't know, a new annual report comes out, and you have these bank analysts that are trying to provide research, they could just quickly ask things. Or I've actually heard a lot about them, or a lot of doctors looking into this, and even here you can see this is saying like the IN cells are then cultured with blah blah blah. So obviously this is for doctors and I guess clinicians. And so the benefit here is that a lot of these research papers that come out are heavy. They are oftentimes very hard to understand. And you can imagine doctors spending hours and hours and hours reading these just to first understand what it is, then understanding where it's applicable, and then kind of working it into their own mental models. So Humata, if they can just get a huge data store of these PDFs, then they can kind of very quickly start to ask it questions and say, hey, like, I don't know, this might be interesting for one of my current patients. How might we use this? And then it kind of reason about it, and also kind of provide responses in natural language, or maybe even elevated language for something like basically talking doctor speak, which is a really interesting thing too. So text to kind of text to response is a really cool thing. And I guess the last thing about this is that they are able to look at things like PDFs, which traditionally have been harder to map into text, which is kind of the requirement to start training these models off of.
yeah. So there are a lot of solutions out there for like chatting with like a PDF or something, but I think the way that these guys are positioning themselves is like to sort of read PDFs that have very like what do you call, like you need some sort of skill to understand these PDFs. So you know,
Mm-hmm.
I guess they must be having like a model, fine tuning it on some really like high quality data, and then that's essentially like what a doctor, like a doc, just throw in like a doctor's textbook, and then
Yeah,
your understanding of this PDF is probably like, I'm sure there's going to be some advantage over like just using like like the average like GPT to just run through this test this text and understand. And by the way, Gradient Ventures is actually Google's VC arm, so
mm-hmm.
that's super interesting. They would I guess in the fact that their Google's VC, they probably have a lot of understanding in this sort of um, like the deep like the technical part of building an LLM or like fine tuning on it. So they wouldn't just simply invest in a company that's sort of very easy to sort of replicate, like on like the marketing level, yeah, just chat with
Yeah,
the PDF. Yeah, so there's,
yeah,
I think that's the differentiator, that like they must be fine tuning, probably building their own models to understand these better and action of these like really high quality like like skill. What's the good word to say, that you need like skill to understand these, like I guess not finding the right word.
yeah. I think that's very fair. And it's very interesting if you think about Google's business model when AI comes in. Google has such a brain trust of so many amazing people, and so I'm curious. Like, I'm sure there's many highly talented people at Google that basically are almost without AI, they're almost stuck in some sort of salary range that HR has come up with, being like, okay, like you are a senior engineer, you can make, I don't know, $1 million a year at Google. And then Google is also, there's probably these guys at Google that are now leaving Google, but not really kind of leaving and saying like, look, I'm never going to talk to Google again. But they leave Google, then Google's venture arm invests in these individuals for them to kind of basically branch out of Google, where Google still kind of owns a lot of their IP through the investment arm, but they are able to do something that's non-core to Google itself. But they're able to kind of develop and make all of these very interesting companies, but still kind of stay attached to Google. So, because it's super interesting, even here, like they're doing something amazing, and their seed round is $3.5 million, right? You can see the next level. Their Series A here could be a monster.
Yeah, for sure.
This one was interesting too, because I think in here they're trying to show that it can also reason and understand about tables, whereas traditionally it's a little bit harder to understand this kind of column structure, knowing that this question relates to this answer that relates to this. So really cool that way.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a part of like any research paper or any textbook. It's not just going to be like a bunch of text to analyze. Like you got to sort of compare it, like the way, like visually, the way that humans see things.
Yeah, exactly. Machines don't necessarily understand how humans. Arguably, they're getting getting there, or they are there now. So it's almost like our minds have to get to the understanding that these AIs have really improved really quickly, where they're basically at our level or above our level in terms of understanding now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think So I just want to kind of give you a shout out again. So Chief AI Office is your Twitter handle. You have a group of 1.5 thousand professional readers from a few different major VC firms that are very notable, and you're covering the latest venture deals in AI. And you also now, I guess, have a career section in your newsletter. So your newsletter is chiefaioffice.beehiiv.com. Beehiiv has 2 eyes in it, if you're not familiar with Beehiiv. And yeah, it was great talking to you, and I look forward to doing these more, and ideally we can kind of pull in some other people and get their opinions too.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, bro.
Thanks for
Well,
the
I'll talk
shout
to you
out.
soon. Yeah, awesome. Take care.
Take care. Bye.